Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8 p.m. on LA56.
2 children rescued from a deadly SWAT standoff, their mother and the gunman killed.
After making its way across the country, the first case of the respiratory illness enterovirus, 68 have been diagnosed in Southern California.
With the first Ebola patient diagnosed in the U.S., just how prepared are Southern California hospitals if an infected patient turned up here? Good evening, I'm Colleen Sullivan.
Now, David Ono, welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, and we are learning new details about the first Ebola patient diagnosed in the U.S. Thomas Eric Duncan traveled to the U.S. from his home in Liberia. And Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson is live in the newsroom with who he may have come into contact with. Hey, Alex.
David, that patient is said to be in stable condition. He's even apparently alert and talking to nurses about his condition. But he's in strict isolation, and there are real worries that others with Ebola here in the U.S. will soon come forward.
Thomas Eric Duncan is the first person diagnosed with Ebola in America. His relatives tell the New York Times that he had picked up and carried a friend who was infected with the disease in Liberia. Days later, he flew from Liberia and landed in Dallas the following day. At an airport screening, his temperature was likely taken by an infrared thermometer, but he did not appear to have Ebola.
This man, when he was on the plane, he was brewing the infection, but he had no symptoms. He wasn't showing the signs of disease, and you can't transmit the disease until you're actually sick.
He landed in Dallas September 20th and began showing symptoms by the 24th. 2 days later, he came on his own to the hospital. He told a nurse he had been to Africa, but she did not relay that information, so he was sent home.
Regretfully, that information was not fully communicated throughout the full team.
On September 28th, he was rushed back to the hospital and isolated. On Tuesday, he tested positive for Ebola. Now, officials are trying to trace everyone he may have been in contact with after getting sick.
For each one of those contacts, we will monitor them for 21 days after exposure.
Officials are monitoring 5 school-aged children from 4 schools that he was in contact with. So far, none has shown symptoms. It's important to know Ebola cannot be transmitted through air or water. It can only spread from direct contact with the blood or bodily fluids of a person or animal who is sick or has died from the virus. Local hospitals, including USC and UCLA, are preparing for the disease just in case.
Doing sort of routine, what we call isolation precautions, we can protect healthcare workers and other patients and families.
At the Tom Bradley terminal at LAX, quarantine stations similar to these have been set up. Most passengers we spoke with, though, aren't concerned.
I'm not going to change my life. I get hit by a car on the freeway, quicker than I'm going to get Ebola, that's for sure.
Although passengers didn't seem too concerned today, Wall Street is worried that they will be in the future. Airline stocks took a major dive today due to fears that Ebola will make people less likely to fly this fall. Reporting live from the newsroom, Alex Michelson, ABC7. Eyewitness News.
Alex, thank you. Doctors are urging parents to keep a close watch on children who are sneezing and wheezing now that LA County has confirmed its first cases of enterovirus 68. The child involved in the first confirmed case in Long Beach is at home recovering. However, a child who was hospitalized at Children's Hospital Los Angeles and Hollywood had trouble moving an arm. In severe cases, enterovirus can cause polio-like syndrome.
Probably a perfect storm in the child that the neurons are just susceptible to the infection and to the virus.
Children with asthma are particularly vulnerable. Doctors say the best way to protect yourself and family is to wash hands regularly and cover your mouth when coughing and sneezing.
Get ready, we are headed for another heat wave, and the mix of high temperatures and low humidity is increasing our risk for a wildfire. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter shows us what firefighters are doing to prepare.
A red flag warning has firefighters and residents on alert and on the lookout for any signs of trouble.
I know that you have to be very careful, and with lighting your fire pits or barbecues, we're on red alert. Got to be careful.
Due to our extreme drought, fire season has never really ended. And now you add in those wicked Santa Ana winds, which are set to blow into Southern California, and the danger increases dramatically.
The winds can actually make a fire burn faster, longer, and also spot, which is like a little bit of fire moving ahead of the fire. We can have spot fires up to 2 miles in advance if the winds are high enough.
Extra staffing and equipment has been moved into areas of greatest concern. With our temperatures increasing, the humidity dropping, and bone-dry fuel covering the hillsides, it won't take much for a fire to erupt.
It happens really quickly, and you just hope that, you know, there's no arsonists out there making the situation worse. And the hillsides are really dry right now, so we need rain badly and haven't had it.
We certainly haven't had any rain, and we aren't about to get any anytime soon. Now, fire officials say in red flag conditions like these, they desperately need the public's help. If you see any signs of smoke or something suspicious, you're urged to call 911 immediately. In Agora Hills, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
In the meantime, let's check in with Jonathan Novak, because today was another pleasant day, but it's not going to stay that way. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, David, folks. Yeah, it was pleasant. It was warm, hot in some spots, but nothing like we've got in store as we head into the next few days. Long Beach, yeah, beautiful evening. 71 right now in Long Beach. Humidity's up, but humidity, temperatures, and calm winds right now in Long Beach, all that is going to change. And that's all going to feed into the fire danger that we have in store, unfortunately, for Thursday. 69 right now in downtown Los Angeles. It's a nice night. Santa Clarita, 84. Very warm up there. 92 Palm Springs, 70s in Temecula, Hemet, Santa Ana, Long Beach. All right, so already in place, a heat advisory Friday through Saturday, and a red flag warning that goes into effect tonight through tomorrow afternoon when the winds are really gusty, plus the dry conditions and temperatures like this. This is downtown LA, 91 by noontime. Folks, it is going to be extremely hot tomorrow. On top of that, that fire danger in place. I'll tell you when it all starts to calm down and cool off coming up in that 70 forecast.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. A mother has died after a violent standoff in a Highland home. A man barricaded himself inside the home at Osborne Road just south of Pacific with the woman and her 2 children inside. The 2 children were rescued, but the mother was shot and has died. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has the details.
Scary moments in a Highland neighborhood this afternoon after reports of an armed man holding 3 people hostage inside a home. With snipers on the rooftop, deputies tried to communicate with the suspect in both English and Spanish. But they say after he refused to come out and continued to make threats, the SWAT team went in, then gunfire.
Just like 4 shots. I was in the guy. I ducked.
Moments later, 2 small children were rushed out, an infant child and then a 3- or 4-year-old girl. As for the suspect, believed to be a cousin of the family, he was shot and killed by deputies.
I think they're Hispanic families. I'm not positive because I'm hearing them talk, but I know that they have young kids.
Ben Kottman lives next door to where it all went down. Now, like everyone else, he waits to be let back into his home.
We were just coming home and saw all this activity going on, and we can't get home. So I guess we found out that some of the active shooter or something, so we're just waiting to find out what's going on and when I can take my mom home. My mom's elderly and I need to get her back in the house.
This will be an extensive investigation. I don't know whether or not there'll be any additional information today or not, as I'm sure the investigation will go on throughout the night.
Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And the mother was found shot in the back of the home. She was airlifted to the hospital where she died tonight. Her gunshot wounds was consistent with the type of weapon the suspect had in his possession. The children were not injured during the incident and were reunited with their father.
The investigation is continuing into the fatal shooting of Bell Gardens Mayor Daniel Crespo. The LA County District Attorney is now deciding whether to file any charges. Police say Crespo's wife, Lavette, pulled the trigger after the couple got into an altercation at their townhome. She was questioned by investigators and then released.
I still can't bear the fact that this has happened and what's going on. I mean, like I said earlier, this is a sad situation where everybody's loose.
Lavette Crespo and the couple's 19-year-old son were both treated for injuries suffered when the Crespos got into that altercation. Daniel Crespo had been working as a deputy probation officer for LA County for more than 20 years. And a grim story out of Hesperia, where the body of a newborn baby girl was found in a trash recycling center. Employees who were sorting through the trash made the discovery. The coroner will determine if the baby was born alive and the cause of death. Police are now trying to track down the girl's parents. Advanced Disposal Services business and residents in Hesperia, Oak Hills, and county areas of Apple Valley.
Fallout from the White House intruder incident. Omar Gonzalez is seen on camera sprinting across the White House lawn. He goes through the front door and makes it all the way to the East Room. Now the head of the Secret Service has stepped down. ABC's Pierre Thomas has the details.
In the end, Secret Service Director Julia Pearson could not protect her own job.
Over the last several days, we've seen recent and accumulating reports raising questions about the performance of the agency. And the President concluded that new leadership of that agency was required.
Pearson could not survive the devastating September 19th White House security breach.
Everybody out right now.
When an intruder with a knife jumped the fence, ran across the north lawn, burst through an unlocked door, and made it all the way to the East Room before being tackled. The president and his daughters had left the building only 4 minutes earlier. That intruder, Omar Gonzalez, was in court today, pleading not guilty.
This is disgraceful. This is absolutely disgraceful.
I believe that you have done a disservice to the President of the United States.
Just hours after being grilled on Capitol Hill yesterday about that fiasco, another Secret Service security blunder was revealed. As Mr. Obama arrived at the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, he and the Secret Service entered an elevator with a plainclothes security guard. The guard, sources say, began acting starstruck, taking pictures. Caught off guard, the Secret Service questioned the man and were shocked to discover he was carrying a gun. And a background check revealed he had a criminal record. The president was never told about the breach.
The White House first learned of that incident yesterday afternoon, shortly before it was reported before it's publicly reported by a news organization.
That apparently was the last straw. After 30 years of government service, Pearson was out. By late last night, my law enforcement sources were speculating whether Pearson could survive. This can be a tough town. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.
A new at 8 o'clock, a domestic dispute at Donald Sterling's Beverly Hills mansion today. Sterling's wife, Shelley, called Beverly Hills police. She was reportedly upset that V. Stiviano was at the home and told police that she had broken in. However, police determined that no crime was committed and quickly left. Shelley Sterling is suing V. Stiviano, accusing her of having an affair with Donald and receiving gifts from him, including a home and several luxury vehicles. Shelley claims the gifts were bought from the Sterling family trust. Stiviano denies the allegations.
Still ahead, a car plows into a crowd, then drives away. The chaotic scene caught on video.
Plus, a mother shows off her unique set of twins, getting a lot of attention for how different they look.
Yellowfin tuna, hammerhead sharks, marine life normally found in warmer water, is being found here in Southern California. I'm Eileen Ferrer in Huntington Beach. We take a look at why these sea creatures may be coming this far north. That's coming up.
Local fishermen are encountering an exotic bounty in Southern California waters these days.
So what's bringing all this marine life to our ocean? Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Freya takes a closer look at what's happening in the water.
This video shows a hammerhead shark attacking yellowfin tuna off the coast of Dana Point. Marine life normally found in more tropical waters, making appearances this summer in Southern California.
As far as fishing goes, it's the outstanding season, and we're getting bonitas in here and big schools of barracuda. It's been 8 years since we've seen bonita up this far.
A thrill for fishermen.
This year is probably the first time in maybe 15 years that we've had really good tuna fishing close to the California coastline.
For beachgoers, a unique experience when these bluish creatures called Velella or by-the-wind sailor showed up in Manhattan Beach. They also littered San Francisco's Ocean Beach this summer. Video from Dana Wharf sport fishing and whale watching shows ocean sunfish or mola mola feasting on by-the-wind sailor.
You can eat it right there, yeah!
Dana Wharf says the sheer number rarely seen this far north.
The animals are following warm water and the prey that move with those conditions.
Experts say local ocean temperatures last month alone hit 76 degrees. That's about 10 degrees warmer than average.
The last time we had conditions like this were back in the late 80s when we had the strong El Nino periods.
Dr. Chris Lowe says it's not yet clear if the animal's actions signal a full El Nino.
Normally when we have El Nino conditions, we have really wet falls. So we're hoping that we get an El Nino that will bring us some water.
While oceanographers watch conditions, fishermen plan to enjoy this while it lasts.
I love it. As a fisherman, we're all stoked.
In Huntington Beach, Eileen Freya, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Cool sight to see.
Oh, love the hammerhead shark. I mean,
Yeah.
a guy from Texas, you see them all the time on the Gulf Coast. Never seen one here before.
I've only seen one in an aquarium.
Yeah.
Goodness, wow, very awesome. Well, so we're going to be getting not so awesome weather.
You'd like to be. This is a weird thing to say. You'd like to be a hammerhead shark, because then you'd be in the water and you'd be nice and cool and you wouldn't be complaining. Not complaining, really concerned. No, you're not complaining. You're going to be concerned. It's going to be hot, folks. We've got temperatures potentially breaking records this week, but that's not the only element in the weather that's going to be an issue. We have dry conditions, windy conditions, and that spells fire danger. Yeah, go ahead. Complain about the heat because it's fall and this is going to be abnormal. At least that's nice. Laguna Beach sunset, beautiful. That was from earlier today. Highs today weren't too bad. Woodland Hills 90. Good evening to you. Hermosa Beach 78, 91 San Bernardino. We were in some spots a little cooler than yesterday, but still we're in the midst of that sort of on-ramp to that heat wave, which really kicks into high gear tomorrow. 67 at the coast, LAX right now, 70 Ojai, and 68 in Oxnard. Good evening to you. San Clemente, 68 as well, 74 Riverside. Let's check out, see what's going on the big scope. We've got high pressure. Forget about the low from last weekend. That's out of here. High pressure is the weather maker. Yeah, it is the low. High pressure, there it is the weather maker. It's going to be building in over the next couple days, and that means a Santa Ana wind event. This is going to be a very strong wind event. The strongest winds will be tomorrow. The hottest temperatures will be Friday and Saturday, so they don't quite line up, but it's enough that we get the fire risk in there as we go into Thursday. So here's Thursday. Watch that arc here. This is that ridge of high pressure. I'll bring it through Thursday night into Friday. It amplifies. Basically, that just means it strengthens, easy for me to say, and right over us pretty much as we go in through Friday, heading over to the Great Basin. That'll give us a weak offshore flow, keep things very hot with high pressure dominating the forecast through Saturday, which will be the hottest day of the next 7 days. All right, watches and warnings. I just want to point out that's a heat advisory all the way from the Central Coast up towards San Francisco in the North Bay. We've got a heat advisory for San Bernardino and for Riverside County and Orange County. Let's zoom in here. And a red flag warning in effect for tonight midnight through tomorrow afternoon. That's where the best chance for wildfires to break out would be. Okay, so tomorrow's going to be a day we want to watch out. Firefighters will be on alert for that potential, and you want to be extra careful when it comes to things like campfires, curtail those for sure, and just try to take it easy in regard to anything that could be a problem there. Temperatures are going into the 90s for just about everybody tomorrow. Here's that 70 forecast. LA Metro, Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. Oh boy. 94 tomorrow, 96 Friday, nearing 100. This is downtown LA. 99 on Saturday. Lower 90s on Sunday. We've got a bit of a cool down next week, so that's good news right there. Valleys, IE, you got a day in the 90s, and then we're kicking it up to the triple digits on Friday. 106 on Saturday, 99 on Sunday. Let's check out the mountains. You guys are A-OK. Nice, breezy, mild, mid-70s in the high desert. Hot stuff for you as well, but the fire danger mainly in the valleys. And watch out for that, guys, and try to stay cool as best you can. We'll have another check of the weather coming up in a few.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and police officers in Rialto are doing their part. All this month, they are wearing pink patches on their uniforms. They're also selling these patches for $20 each at the Rialto Police Station. The money goes to a local breast cancer research center.
New at 8, when you think of twins, you may assume they look alike.
But not these rare Northern California beauties.
Viviana and Dennis are biracial twins. Viviana was born 4 minutes before her brother and has blue eyes and light brown hair. She looks a lot like her mother, who is Irish and Hispanic. But her twin brother Dennis has brown eyes and black hair and is the spitting image of his father, who is African American, Chinese, and Hawaiian. Mom says some people have even asked if they have the same father.
Some people are really bold enough to ask that. More than often than not, they just ask if they're naturally conceived.
The twins are fraternal, meaning they come from 2 different eggs.
Interesting.
Sweet.
Oh, they're adorable.
I know.
Great. Please call it the crime that never goes out of style. Still ahead, what you can do to protect yourself from pickpocketers.
Plus, these shoplifters are anything but smooth. Their awkward attempts to swipe some beer.
On the November ballot, Proposition 45 wants to regulate health insurance rates, much like auto insurance rates are now. I am Consumer Specialist Rick Romero, and coming up, I'll have that story.
But first, we want to remind you, you can help AIDS Project LA and other AIDS service organizations by taking part in AIDS Walk Los Angeles. It's on Sunday, October 12th. The walk starts and ends in West Hollywood Park. Evelyn Leyva will be there along with Alicia Del Valle and Mark Cordero-Robles. To find out more, call 213-201-WALK or go to AIDSWalk.net.
caught on camera bungling beer burglars. Surveillance video shows two men attempting to steal 2 packs of beer. They slowly make their way to the register, then they inch toward the front door. But once they get there, they fumble their getaway, dropping beer as they try to open the door. Finally, they got out, then they fell down trying to get back to their car. They ended up dropping all the beer and they drove off without taking a thing. Police are tracking their car to try to find them.
Well done. Cell phone video captures the moment a car plows into a crowd of people and then speeds away. Take a look. The video was posted on YouTube. It happened this past weekend during an illegal sideshow in Oakland. CHP officers were in the area, but they say they did not intervene because of the overwhelming number of people in the crowd. Authorities say there were no reports of injuries and there is no word on the driver of the car.
You're about to see an accused pickpocket in action, lifting a wallet from an unsuspecting victim, then charging thousands of dollars in stolen credit cards.
ABC's Gio Benitez shows us how you can avoid becoming an easy target.
Police releasing this video tonight, asking for the public's help. A woman eating and talking at a California restaurant. Watch as this woman walks up and sits right next to her, glancing at her chair. She gets up as if she's searching for something, then takes a seat right behind her. Now look, as she adjusts her sweater, she quickly reaches under the woman's chair, grabs her wallet, apparently takes out some of the contents, and puts the wallet back, all within 45 seconds. Police say she immediately went shopping, racking up thousands of dollars on those stolen credit cards. It's a crime that never goes out of style, and more cameras may record it. Hanging your purse on the back of a chair is a major no-no, according to former pickpocket Simon Lovell. Dressed for the part when we spoke with him, he demonstrates on an ABC staffer.
Excuse me, ma'am. Yeah, I think you just dropped that. Oh, no problem.
And a no-no for men, too.
When you got your wallet, put a couple of rubber bands around it. Okay. That's it. There we go. Now shove that in your pocket again. Now try and take it out as easily as you did before. You see how it kind of... And it sort of got stuck right there.
That's great.
Those are good tips.
Good.
That's so scary.
Yeah, that was Gio Benitez reporting, but that'll help us all.
Yeah.
Don't put your purse on your chair.
I know. Put a rubber band around your wallet.
I will. But we are updating the evening's top stories next at 8:30.
The Ebola virus in the U.S. Airports such as LAX say they are prepared in case any ill passengers arrive. Passengers we spoke with today say they're not very worried. I'm Carlos Grande at LAX, and I'll have that story coming up.
Plus, Prop 45 would affect 6 million Californians who buy their own insurance or work for a small business. We dig into both sides next.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, a deadly hostage standoff in Highland. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
Now, David Ona, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. A man called 911 saying a cousin was inside his home threatening to shoot his wife and their two small children. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies tried to negotiate with the suspect, but the suspect threatened to shoot the hostages and deputies. As the suspect stood in the doorway, he was shot and killed. The two children are found safe, but their mother was found inside the home suffering from a gunshot wound. She was rushed to the hospital where she died. Officials say her wound was consistent with the weapon that the suspect had in his possession.
Fire departments are ramping up resources ahead of a big heat wave and red flag warning. Some areas could see triple-digit temperatures starting tomorrow, making the conditions ripe for a wildfire. In the Angeles National Forest, fire crews will be staffed 24 hours a day, and extra engines will be positioned in the danger zone.
The first confirmed cases of enterovirus have been diagnosed in LA County. The child involved in the first confirmed case in Long Beach is home recovering. However, a child who was hospitalized at Children's Hospital in Los Angeles and Hollywood had trouble moving an arm. Doctors are urging parents to keep a close watch on children who are sneezing and wheezing.
New concerns about a potential Ebola outbreak in the U.S. after a man is diagnosed with the disease in Texas. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda explains what steps are being taken at LAX if an infected passenger arrives.
As passengers fly in and out of LAX, a few do think about the possibility that someone infected with Ebola could be sitting next to them.
I worry a lot.
They shouldn't allow anybody to get in the airlines if they feel that they have that, problem.
So if they're sick,
anybody that's sick shouldn't.
Passengers traveling from West Africa are receiving increased medical checks before boarding planes. Sick passengers can be denied boarding, and quarantine stations similar to this one have been set up at U.S. airports. The infected man left Liberia on September 19th on a United Airlines flight from Brussels to Washington, D.C., and then continuing to Dallas-Fort Worth. Officials stressed there was no risk to any fellow airline passengers because the man had no symptoms when he was traveling.
Like when you especially you're touching, like when you especially go in the bathroom, you're afraid to touch, touch things. Yeah, you're afraid, but what can you do?
My understanding is Ebola cannot be transmitted by airborne means, that it's basically exchange of bodily fluids, so I'm not really worried about it.
Officials here wouldn't comment on camera, but tell us the Centers for Disease Control has a facility at the Tom Bradley terminal, and there is a procedure in place if an ill passenger arrives. It specifies how they're to be received, separated from the general population, examined, and transported.
I think I can trust the authorities that if it gets serious, that they'll do some screening. Now, I'm pretty well at ease with it.
People we spoke with were all aware of the Ebola outbreak, but most believe there is very little risk.
I'm not going to change my life. I get hit by a car on the freeway, quicker than I'm going to get Ebola, that's for sure.
You just got to be aware of everything. And I think you just got to be healthy.
The one thing suffering airline stocks. Prices dropped today because there's concern that some people may decide not to fly. Reporting from LAX, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Another deadly day in Syria. The two car bombs went off near an elementary school in Homs. ABC News reports at least 32 people were killed, at least 10 of them children, but there are conflicting reports. CNN says as many as 41 children were killed. In the meantime, 3 airstrikes hit near the town of Kobani. ISIS militants have been advancing on the town, which borders Turkey. Turkey's parliament is debating whether to send ground troops into Iraq and Syria to fight the terror group.
There's word tonight of a major drug cartel arrest out of Mexico. Alleged cartel boss Hector Beltran Leyva is believed to have been captured. DNA testing is being done to confirm his identity. The U.S. says this cartel is responsible for trafficking cocaine, marijuana, heroin, and methamphetamine. A $5 million reward had been offered for information leading to his capture.
A House panel is raising pressure on the Mexican government to release a Marine charged with bringing weapons into the country. Sergeant Andrew Tamarusi has spent the last 6 months behind bars after driving into Mexico with weapons and hundreds of rounds of ammunition, which he says he legally owns. He claims he took a wrong turn. His mother testified on Capitol Hill today, reading a series of what sounded like text messages or phone calls from her son.
April 5th. Mom, I'm not going to make it through the night. Whatever you do not come down here to investigate. Do not come down here to ask questions. You will be killed as well.
His mother says her son suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and expressed hope that he could be released in a matter of weeks. So lawmakers want President Obama to get involved. Mexican justice officials say possession of weapons restricted for army use is a federal crime.
2 years ago, a gunman walked into a Colorado movie theater and shot and killed a dozen people. Local law enforcement want prepared in case that happens here. Today, they held an active shooter training drill at the AMC Theater in Norwalk. The scenario is that there's been a shooting at the theater. Police and firefighters respond to the scene and take action. The training included simulated gunfire and simulated injuries.
A student at Simi Valley High School was arrested and released for allegedly having marijuana lollipops on campus. Here's a photo of the candy known as pot suckers or Jolly Lollies. Simi Valley Police School Resource Officer seized the suckers on Tuesday. Investigators are urging all parents to be on the lookout for similar marijuana-laced candies, which are growing in popularity.
Nearly all of the high school football players from Chino Hills who were suspended in an alleged hazing incident have been reinstated. 21 students at Ayala High School were suspended last week after reports of hazing in a hotel room in St. George, Utah. The team had traveled there to play a game. 18 of the students have now completed their suspensions. They range from 1 to 5 days. So far, no details on the alleged hazing incident.
The University of California has taken a new look at its admission policy. There's concern that the UC system is admitting too many out-of-state and foreign students at the expense of California students. Educators are concerned about a sharp rise in out-of-state students. 5 years ago, the number of out-of-state students was 12%. That number has now soared to 30%. The review is part of a larger study in which UC regions are considering a tuition increase.
Consumer watchdog in Santa Monica is going after the insurance companies with Prop 45, which would give the insurance commissioner the power to regulate health insurance rates. Prop 45 would affect 6 million Californians who buy their own insurance or work for a small business. Consumer specialist Rick Romero takes a look at both sides of the initiative.
Judy Graff Fisher and Diana Guth are Southland small business owners who say their health insurance rates have gotten out of hand.
It has been a struggle. Every single year I dread the open enrollment, which is coming up this Friday, because every single year there's a raise.
In January of this year, I was paying $406 a month for my health insurance. Imagine my surprise when 4 days after the open enrollment period ended, I got a letter from my carrier saying that my insurance was going up to $738 a month.
Both Judy and Diana were at a news conference today with Consumer Watchdog, who's promoting Prop 45, a ballot measure that would give the insurance commissioner the authority to reject unjustified rate hikes on health insurance.
And make no mistake, health insurance rates have been going up like a runaway train. Health insurance rates have gone up in the last decade 5 times faster than the rate of inflation.
Also today, Consumer Watchdog revealed a new TV ad using members of the California Nurses Association who's supporting Prop 45. Meantime, the No on Prop 45 campaign says in this statement they have support from a variety of organizations, including insurance companies. Prop 45 lines the pockets of the people who put it on the ballot and leaves the rest of us with the bill. That's why doctors, nurses, hospitals, clinics, and labor unions like SEIU have strongly opposed this measure. No on 45 is also running ads which oppose giving the insurance commissioner, presently Dave Jones, control over health insurance rates.
The health insurance companies are spending $37 million in a very deceptive campaign to try to keep their control over this market without anyone watching over their shoulders.
In this statement from the Hospital Association of Southern California, they say, "We are confident that once voters understand the deceptive, self-serving agenda behind Prop 45, they will reject it."
Now, you can vote either way come November 4th. This is Rick Romero, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And still ahead, downtown LA's Music Center celebrates a milestone.
And apparently the Queen of England has a problem with chewing gum. We're going to tell you about the unusual new job opening at Buckingham Palace.
And there goes the sun from a little bit earlier on, there below the horizon, Angeles National Forest. A beautiful day, kind of hot, but nowhere near as hot as tomorrow. On to the forecast. Details ahead in 7 days. Stick around.
The Landmark Music Center in downtown Los Angeles is celebrating its 50th anniversary.
The Music Center Plaza came alive with music today in the first of a number of public celebrations. The historic venue first opened in 1964 and has been a centerpiece of culture to the community ever since. All 5 members of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors were on hand for today's rededication ceremony. Actress Vanessa Williams, who is currently starring in A Trip to Bountiful at the Almonson Theater, paid tribute to the Music Center's top patron, Dorothy Buffum Chandler.
Husband and wife actors Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner will have dueling movies at the box office this weekend. Garner attended the premiere of her film Men, Women, and Children last night at the Directors Guild in Los Angeles. Director Jason Reitman brings the technology-focused relationship drama to the big screen. Adam Sandler also stars in the film. It opens Friday in limited release, the same day as Affleck's high-profile book-to-film adaptation, Gone Girl. Believe it or not, this isn't the first time the couple's films have faced off an opening weekend.
Butter and Argo came out at the same time, and Argo won by a little bit. But this time it's going to be Men, Women, and Children all the way. You better watch out.
Gone Girl is one of the most anticipated films of the fall season. The novel has been on the bestseller list for more than 2 years. Affleck stars as a man whose once seemingly happy marriage disintegrates after his wife goes missing. He finds himself as chief suspect in her disappearance. Affleck came to the role fresh off his Academy Award-winning experience with Argo, but says he learned a lot working with David Fincher.
I've learned from every director I've ever worked with. The way I learned how to direct was essentially the film school I had as an actor, where I got to stand next to the monitor, stand next to the director, and soak up everything they did. And I haven't stopped doing that.
And you? Who are you? I'm the guy to save you from all this awesomeness.
Gone Girl also stars Rosamund Pike and is rated R.
That looks like a good movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, help wanted at Buckingham Palace for a very unusual job.
They're actually advertising for a chewing gum cleaner.
The royals look great on the balcony. However, the Queen has been taking a closer look around the palace. She's reportedly quite upset about the amount of chewing gum under royal tables, chairs, and elsewhere. The new chewing gum job is a part-time deal, 20 hours a week, and pays $26,000 a year. It's actually very specialized work, pulling chewing gum off priceless antiques.
And still ahead, a pink fire truck in Orange County with a very special message.
And the Lakers embark on day 2 of training camp coming up. In sports, how Kobe Bryant and Steve Nash are holding up. Warmer temperatures, lower humidity.
Yes.
Not really great
Wind.
for wind.
Wind.
Oh,
yeah, we got to
too.
throw that in there too. Plus, we got a lot of debris, is what it's called, on the ground, just dry. That's just been sitting there because we had such a dry winter. It's just sitting there. It's fuel for fires.
Ready to burn.
Here's what's interesting, though. When it's that dry out, as it's going to be the next few days, and you have temperatures around 105, we'll have humidity levels, relative humidity levels below 10%. It's actually going to feel a little cooler, believe it or not, that what we call heat index. It won't feel as bad, but nevertheless, still sizzling. You know, when you have the humidity, guys, what happens is, just FYI real quick here before we get into the forecast, your body cannot evaporate its sweat, the moisture from the skin, so it can't cool off. And that's why when it's more humid outside, it feels warmer than it actually is. You can't cool off. You can't get that evaporation going. So at least we'll have the dry air. That's the only silver lining I can show you in the forecast. Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD crash course there on dew point and relative humidity. Almanac today, 82. Was our high in downtown. So right around average, a little bit warmer. Some spots were hot today. Some spots were around average. But tomorrow's a totally different story. 69 in downtown Los Angeles, 71 Long Beach. Nice night, right? A little misleading in the sense that tomorrow at this time, it's going to be warm. It's going to be a warm evening. We're getting into the triple digits for afternoon highs in a couple of days. So there you go. 75, enjoy it while you last in Ontario. 73, Fullerton, 92, Palm Springs, a warm evening there. 71 again in Long Beach, 68 in Oxnard. It's a nice night. And we have maybe a few clouds in the morning, but really it's going to be overall pretty sunny. And this is why. This is our culprit, if you will, our weather maker, high pressure. We get that offshore flow, that Santa Ana wind. It's not going to be a very strong wind, but as we go in through Thursday, I'm going to show you this right here on our high-resolution model for future winds. Starting off Thursday morning at 4 a.m., we already start seeing some of these pockets of strong winds coming around that high pressure. They really kick into high gear, LA, Ventura counties, through the mountains down to the passes to the coast. That's Thursday, 11 a.m. into the afternoon time, coinciding with the heat of the day, the hottest point of the day. Those winds will back off some on Friday, but temperatures are going up. Now, all that said, this spells, for LA and Ventura County especially, red flag warnings, all right? And those are going to be in effect tonight through tomorrow afternoon. That's the window. Heat advisory Friday through Sunday for the southern counties here, Orange, San Bernardino, Riverside counties. It's going to be a hot one, folks. Stay cool, stay hydrated all the way through Sunday at least. Take it easy. If you got to go outside, do it in the morning or at night if possible. And yeah, like I said, I'll say it again, stay hydrated. 98 tomorrow for high in Ontario, 95 in Anaheim, 96 Mission Viejo. And this is the first of a few days of extremely hot weather. 99 on Saturday, 92 on Sunday. Fire danger Thursday into Friday. It'll be increased most likely in through Friday and even into Saturday possibly. Valleys, i.e. triple digits for Friday and Saturday and probably Sunday as well, pushing some records there. The mountains look good. Nice and mild in the mid-70s, sunny skies, high desert, breezy tomorrow. Temperatures into the 90s Friday on. Dallas has the latest on this forecast on ABC7 at 11.
Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Well, after getting back in the mix yesterday, Kobe Bryant said he felt fine and like himself. Well, today was the first real test for the Black Mamba, testing his knee in a second straight day of action. In El Segundo today, it was back to business for Byron Scott and the Lakers. It was back on the courts this afternoon for Kobe and company, and it was the first sights of the Mamba in action since his leg injury last year. Steve Nash also was making a return to the hardwood after he missed all but 15 games last season. After the scrimmage, Coach Scott was impressed with his star players.
For not playing basketball that much last year, to be able to play the way they did today, and to be able to get up and down the floor the way they did yesterday and today, I was impressed.
I felt pretty good. I had played 5-on-5 because I came in there before camp opened up. So that was the first time I got up and down, had a chance to kind of test it with contact. That's when I felt like I didn't have to think about anything else from that point.
Baseball now, the Angels are looking to make their second ALCS since 2009, but first they have to take out the upstart Royals, who ended a 29-year playoff drought.
There's not much more you can do to keep your edge. There's not much more you can do. I think at that point of where you are in the season, our guys played all the way through the weekend. They played. They were, really had one day off after we clinched, and that was it. So I don't think that's as much of an issue right now. I think our guys are ready to go.
You don't really understand the pressures of playoff baseball until you get in it.
And that's why I was so pleased last night. I mean, you couldn't have had a more charged atmosphere, more pressure, more intensity than the game that we had last night.
I'm always hungry. That's what I play for. I would say that I have 10 fingers, 2 rings, so I need 8 more rings to fill my whole hand. So, you have to stay hungry. That's what you play for, and, that's why I came here. Ari Moreno gave me an opportunity to come here, put a squad together over the last couple of years. We haven't reached our goal, but now we're one of those 18.
And tonight at Eyewitness News at 11 p.m., we will have your highlights of the NL playoff game between San Francisco and Pittsburgh.
And more news straight ahead here at 8:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, where a police officer is in trouble after tasing a woman in the back as she walked away. Plus, with an Ebola patient hospitalized in Texas after a flight from Liberia tonight, we're learning about the 2 planes he flew on, and they have taken off and landed in several Southern California cities. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Two window washers are safely rescued from about 225 feet up in the air after their platform became stuck outside an Orange County building. Firefighters got the call around 9:30 this morning from the high-rise at 4 Park Plaza in Irvine. The building has 19 floors. The workers were stuck at the 17th floor. Firefighters raised the platform toward the roof using a machine they had to crank by hand. After about 3 hours, the men were pulled to safety.
Scary.
Oh, no kidding.
Rough, and that's the worst nightmare if you do that job. Firefighters are using a pink fire truck to extinguish cancer.
Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere has a story from Fullerton.
Fire engine red replaced by bright pink. The Fullerton Firefighters Association launching its Pinktober campaign to extinguish cancer.
Every one of us is affected by cancer in one way or another. You know, I had an aunt who passed away from cancer last year, so we're all affected.
This year, firefighters are helping out Dory Madrid, a teacher at Troy High School in Fullerton for the past 20 years.
I found out that I had stage 4 breast cancer the day before my 45th birthday.
Since May, Madrid has undergone 6 rounds of chemotherapy. Her husband, also a teacher at Troy, by her side, along with their school. 2,000 T-shirts made. Students wear them every Monday.
She's a phenomenal person, and we love her.
Firefighters are selling pink T-shirts, hats, and window decals to raise money for St. Jude Memorial Foundation, the program chosen by Madrid.
I'm overwhelmed by everything that they do and all of the support that they've offered to my family and to me.
Over the past 2 years, the Fullerton Firefighters Association has helped raise nearly $35,000 to go toward cancer research. Madrid, who still faces surgery and radiation, signs the pink engine. Firefighters hope others fighting cancer, survivors, and people remembering loved ones will turn it into a rolling tribute.
Hopefully by the end of the October, it'll just be all signatures as a show of support.
This makes me stronger. I love you.
In Fullerton, Eileen Ferrer, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56 Law & Order SVU is next on LA56.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. We'll see you.